Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Once again, this is Starboy, the Cosmic Witch, and we're going to be doing our reading for the new moon, August 16th, 2023. So how are you guys doing? I hope that you're doing well. I hope that you all had a magical time with Hecate's sacred dates, August 10th through 13th this year. Now, this new moon is a micro moon, so I don't know if you just heard my ceiling just pop. With the micro moon, we have the moon is at its furthest away during the new moon, so it's smaller, but of course you can't see it because it's the new moon. It's conjunct the sun at that time. But I think that's very interesting because with that said, I've strongly been feeling the energies of the Fae around lately and reconnecting with them a lot. So there's sort of been that, ethereal energy going on with me. And maybe you guys are all feeling that too. We are still also very deep in the Venus retrograde. That's another really heavy, darker energy that's going on. But like I said in the last reading, I feel like this month with its 2 supermoons, 1 blue moon, and Hecate sacred dates, August 10th through 13th, I felt like this month would be a lot of positive energy to sort of counterbalance the Venus retrograde's more heavier tone. So hopefully you all have had a lot of positive energy come in with the last supermoon and with Hecate sacred dates. And now also with this new moon, I feel bringing in this sort of fairy, ethereal energy. It'll be interesting to see, what messages come up in this reading. As far as psychic messages and clairvoyant messages, with this reading, I am feeling, of course, a strong energy coming off from Hecate right now. A lot of us who work with her for quite a while now, things have felt very distant. Her messages coming through, her omens, her signs around us, all of that stuff that sort of facilitates the relationship with her has sort of been, I guess, lacking, or just feeling like we're just not seeing her a lot lately. With that said, what I'm feeling right now is strongly that she's going to be making a comeback and letting her presence be known a lot more powerfully and a lot more evidently in our lives going forward at this time. A lot of you all know what I've talked about in my video on how Hecate rules fate and the way that she puts her messages out through people, through situations, including in the media. I'm getting messages from Hecate that she'll be putting a lot of her messages in the new Star Wars Ahsoka series that'll be coming out on Disney Plus later this month as well. So pay attention to that series. There'll be a lot of Hecate's messages encoded within that coming up. So just thought I would share that with you guys as well for this. And of course, if you want more of Hecate's messages and communications, I will be doing a separate reading for you guys. I'm going to finally be doing a pick a card reading with Hecate's messages for us. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, with that said, that's pretty much what I'm feeling on the psychic aspect. And just once again with this fairy-like energy, ethereal energy coming through, I feel like they're coming to bring blessings and bring a lot of positive energy and healing energy and just sort of counteract this heavier, darker aura that's sort of permeating the planet at this time. I do also know of the tragedy of the Maui fires that have taken place recently, that there is a sort of a dark psychic energy permeating the planet's atmosphere at this time as well. So maybe you're also feeling the psychic waves coming off from that event as well at this time. So I encourage you all to send positive energy and loving, healing energy to those affected by that event. With that said, let's go ahead and look at the astrology. At the time of the new moon, we have Sun and the Moon are in Leo, and Mars and Mercury, they're in Leo as well. And we have Venus over here in Cancer. So this really interesting sort of alignment of these conjunctions going on. And of course, we are still in the Lionsgate portal as well, astrologically. So there's also that bringing in a lot of positive energy. And I forgot to mention that in the last video. But, you know, in the month of August, we also get the Lionsgate portal, bringing in a lot of positive energy, abundance, healing, and all of that too. So we also have that counteracting the more negative aspects with this Venus retrograde. So what I'm getting with this alignment is a lot of love energy. I'm seeing symbolism of the Strength card, the woman taming the lion, the power of love to sort of overcome anything that we may be facing in our lives. This is, I feel like, a great energy, once again, to come in to counteract the Venus retrograde. Love truly does conquer all. Love always wins. You know, it gives us courage and it gives us strength to overcome challenges. And love and gentleness is also its own strength to conquer, to tame, to overcome things in a positive and beautiful way. I feel like there's an internalized energy coming through that's about heart healing and strengthening. You know, we face challenges, once again, with the Venus retrograde, of the emotional relationship type nature, and we become stronger because of it. So this energy is an activation of the heart chakra in a very spiritual and powerful sense. With the sun and the moon coming together in Leo, this is bringing balance and harmony with the outer and inner self, the spiritual and the physical. With Mars and Mercury being there, we also once again have the stimulation of activity and movement. That's giving the energy of the Eight of Wands. This fire and air energy, Mercury and Mars working together, a lot of activity in the social sphere, communications, travels, messages coming through, messages being sent. So there's also that as well. But yeah, with that said, let's go ahead and get into the cards. For this reading, I'm going to be using the Star Spinner Tarot, and I will be using the Faeries Oracle. Please give us your divine guidance for this new moon, micromoon in Leo. Is there anything that we need to know or do or be aware of for our highest good, greatest success and joy? Please give us your divine guidance now. Thank you, and so mote it be. Like a very strong surge of energy with that one. Just take a sip of my coffee here for a minute. Shout out to Witchy Rituals. I got this mug from her shop. You know, the little Beetlejuice quote. I'll link her shop down below if you guys want to take a look at her stuff. I really love the depiction on this card. You know, that balancing act, right? So with the Two of Coins, that's what we have. We're, you know, balancing things in our lives. If you guys remember the last reading, talking about how August was going to bring in the energy needed on the internal level to bring things back into balance. This is us now doing that. Balancing on the emotional level. We have the depiction of the sea, of these ships. And on the physical level, we have with the coins. Being at peace. Remember the last reading, when we ground and center ourselves in our peace, that's when we're at our most powerful. So that's what the Two of Coins represents. It's sort of just juggling, balancing things out, figuring out what's working for us at this time. This could be your work life and home life balance. This could be your spiritual and mundane balance, your emotional relationship balance. This is a very active energy. You know, we're taking this active stance and this active role in making things work. And it's from a place of peace and serenity within. Then we have the Nine of Wands. We got this cute little fairy jester. He looks, you know, very tired, doesn't he? The Nine of Wands is a card of discipline and sort of being put through the ringer, to say it bluntly. The Nine of Wands is a weary energy. Like we've gone through battle. We've faced struggle and opposition. And we're sort of just tired of the fight, you know? Sometimes you just get tired of fighting. And that's what the Nine of Wands is representing. But with the Nine of Wands, the message is also that the fight's not over. You know, there's more to do. That's why it's a card of discipline. So it's a bit of a heavy energy with this, but I feel like it's sort of representing this time period that we're in. We still have the Venus retrograde all the way through to September. So, you know, pushing through this murky energy, this dark energy that's going on right now. It's not done yet. We still have to keep going. We need to be disciplined in keeping our resolve to keep pushing through. Just because we're tired doesn't mean we give up. You know, the positive side of this card is, though, that the battle is almost done. So if we just keep pushing through, we will get there eventually. And it's interesting, too, because the final card is the Sun. And what is that? That's that light at the end of the tunnel, isn't it? And I love the depiction of this. It's like the sun and all of these birds just diving in, bringing in that light. The phoenix rising from the ashes, being reborn out of that darkness. This is reminding me of what I was saying, you know, the fairies coming in to bring in some light. The sun is a card of warmth and nurturing, healing, growth. Everything in nature, when it's loved, it grows better. That's that nurturing energy. The power of love to nurture. With the Sun card, it could be that some other force is acting as the sun for you at this time. Some source is giving you love and nurturing, and it's coming through. It's coming in very strongly with the Sun card. It could also be that we're being called to step into this energy for others. Maybe both, you know. When we step into this loving, nurturing energy, it invites others to do the same. Light reflects upon light, and more light is created that way. So there's a powerful healing energy with this card, through that nurturing, loving aspect. And again, this could also be the Lionsgate portal energy with the Sun in Leo at this time. The Sun rules Leo, so it's a double that Sun fire energy. And with the Moon, so there's that touch of like nurturing and compassion and love with it. So I'm seeing a message of encouragement here when I look at these cards together. It's like you're doing the work, you're fighting, you're trying to bring balance, doing what it takes. You're sort of in this just tired of it energy, feeling a little bit weary and drained and exhausted and just wanting it to be over with. But we're being encouraged to just keep pushing through, keep fighting. Don't give up and don't give in. The effort that you're putting in is working. It's just a lot to push through. And there is the sun waiting for you on the other side. You're almost there. So keep fighting and keep pushing. And we're getting in reinforcements this month. Like I was saying last reading, the month of August feels like a time of a reinforcement. It's bringing in positive energy to help us continue to fight and push through. And I feel like September will really be when we get to the other side of whatever this is we're all dealing with. You know, the Venus retrograde and what it's manifesting. So that's going to be all for the tarot cards. Let's go ahead and do a fairy oracle card now. So that I'm ready for the highest of all. Please give us your divine guidance for this new moon, micro moon in Leo. Is there anything else that we need to know or do or be aware of at this time for our highest good, greatest success and joy? Please give us your divine guidance now. Thank you, and so let it be. What a lovely card to get. We have the fairy godmother. A very Hecatian energy, wouldn't you say? You have the owl. Pay attention to the owl. Kind of has this energy of like the spider web or weaving energy, doesn't it? You know, the fairy godmother is the one that can transform and change things to our favor, and often does. It's that loving, nurturing, compassionate energy. So again, it feels like, you know, the fairy godmother and all the fairy stories, What does the fairy godmother do? She comes in and she grants wishes. She brings blessings, fixes what she can with her magic. So this is, once again, that reinforcement that's coming through right now. And it's very Hecatean, especially with the symbolism here. Bringing in that light, changing fate to help us. Let's go ahead and look at the book meaning. The fairy godmother. Keywords: gifts, talents, grace, helpful lessons. One morning recently, I was having breakfast at the local cafe, and my favorite waitress, Peggy, stopped by my table and asked what I was working on. I showed her my scribbled-in copy of Good Fairies, Bad Fairies, and explained that I was choosing the cards for an oracle deck. Of course the fairies were choosing them, but I didn't necessarily want to explain that to the whole cafe. Relatable match. Peggy had been having a bad morning with difficult customers, and she had reached the stress point where she was dropping and spilling things, which only made matters worse. I encouraged her to pause for a bit, since the cafe wasn't really busy, and take a look at the fairy pictures. She thought she couldn't, but I employed the Piper's Wiles, card 24, of friendly coaxing, and she took a little time out to look. When Peggy got to the page on the fairy godmother, she stopped and smiled. "Oh yes," she said. "She must be in the deck." Definitely, she must. The longer Peggy looked at her, the bigger her smile grew, and the more insistent she was that I include Sari in the deck. When she went back to work, I noticed that she still had a little smile on her face, and her whole energy had changed. Things were not jumping out of her hands any longer either. This is how Sari, the fairy godmother, works. She gives us grace to help us along our way. It might be a little touch of fairy dust to lift a mood. It might be a conscious miracle. It might be anything in between. She protects us from the ill will and plain stupidity of others, and from our own mistakes. She untangles the snarls in our psyches and bestows gifts upon us. Whatever she feels we need. Sometimes she gives us choices when we thought we had none. Grace is the good fortune we get from the universe, even when we don't deserve it. In fact, deserving or not deserving is not the issue. We are, and therefore we are loved. It's that simple. Sari, the fairy godmother, is a giver of grace, and occasionally, quite often in fact, of useful lessons. She tries not to interfere with our learning processes, but she adds that little touch of fairy grace that helps us to learn a little faster sometimes. Quite often, she acts in our lives through the hands and hearts of others. Isn't that interesting? Where I was talking about how Hecate rules fate. The fairy godmother is the only one to wear a crown of stars, flowers, and branches, which says a lot about her. Luckily, each of us has a fairy godmother to provide the extras that our guardian angels are often too busy to think about. Fairy godmothers in general are well known for their love of parties. Don't forget to invite them to your festivities and special occasions. The fairy godmother glows through us as we perform loving and appropriate kindness for others and develop our capacity for unconditional love. Sari offers last-minute rescues. When she turns up in our readings, good things may well be happening that we don't think we deserve, or that we do deserve, but haven't thought to ask for. Almost imperceptibly, she teaches us about giving and receiving unconditionally, helping us to open our hearts to love and acceptance. She sometimes showers us with abundance. Keep an eye out for unexpected good fortune, especially when you thought you saw bad luck headed your way. Remember to say thank you by passing a kindness on to someone else. Practice a little fairy godmothering yourself, and see how enjoyable it is. Part of the fun of it is to do it so that the recipient doesn't know where the gift came from. So isn't that lovely? And doesn't that resonate perfectly with everything I was saying in this reading? The Sun card as well coming through, bringing in that reinforcement, unconditional loving energy. So we really are getting these reinforcement and support coming through the Fae, through, the goddess, with the sun energy coming in as well. It's a very positive and uplifting energy to just help us have that encouragement and support to keep pushing forward. And again, I just want to remind you all what I was saying about Goddess Hecate and what I'm feeling of her, making her presence known a lot more. once again. So pay attention to the signs. She will be letting you know that she's around, and a lot more strongly if you've been, missing that or lacking that for a while. With that said, that's going to be all for this reading. I hope that you all have a lovely dark moon, new moon, micro moon, fairy moon, and I hope that you all get the love and the support that you need. Make sure to leave me a like and leave a comment down below if this reading helped you. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and thank you guys who have already subscribed. Love you all so much. If you would like to get a personal reading with me, you can contact me through the methods below down in the description box. As well, if you would like to join my Patreon and have access to all of my magical lessons and courses that I don't share publicly on YouTube, the link for that is down below in the description box as well. I would like to thank my current patrons and group members. And I will see you all in the next videos. As always, until next time, Hell Hecate, Hell to the witches, Hell to the fairies, and blessed be.